Hey guys, we're mixing it up for today. We're out in Burleigh looking at the good old surf here. Beautiful. Anyway, today's video, I'm going to do a little bit more of a take on the overall market, looking obviously at Bitcoin. Let's get some thoughts around the traditional markets, looking at the S&P 500, and of course, update you guys on what I think is going on at this stage of the cycle. I thought I would do something a little bit different today because, well, essentially the markets have been underneath old all-time highs for several days now. Things are getting a little bit boring. I don't think the cycle is over by any means, any stretch of the imagination, but there are a few different things that are developing at this stage of the market. And if you've been following, you got a bit of an idea of what I'm thinking, but I thought I would add something extra today with what's happened now at this point near a peak, an intermediate peak for Bitcoin, for the stock markets. Real estate, different story. That's continued to go up against everyone's belief that that was in 2022 and 2023. So this really gives me a grounding for what I think comes in the collapse around the major peak of the overall cycle. So I thought this would be a good place to do it out here. There's tons of construction behind me here. There's plenty of construction across, if I can get that there. Look at that. There's just cranes all the way up the coastline there. So it's this stage, and Bitcoin's part of it all. So I'm going to keep this video very short compared to what I typically do when I've got my charts in front of me. And yeah, if you like this sort of thing, let me know. Let's get this thing over 3,000 likes. If that's the case, I'll do more like this. I won't change doing my 20-minute videos running through all of the markets, but maybe I'll do a few more out on location, just something nice to mix it up. The days here in autumn are absolutely amazing. Came in from a surf, it's absolutely beautiful. So let's start with the traditional markets, and I'll get through Bitcoin and of course cryptocurrencies, because I think that's where the big changes lie, and I'm just getting the lighting right here. So if you recall, 2023, we had the low come in for for altcoins, and they ran up significantly. From there, that one there took me by surprise with how fast the altcoins ran up. So I don't get everything right. I don't claim to get everything right. But one thing I did look at was the possibility for a correction. Now, the top kept going. Well, the peaks for altcoins ran a little bit harder, but their Bitcoin tops, in some cases, came in late 2023, and what we now have confirmation of are altcoins that have retraced against their Bitcoin value for the last month or two, sometimes up to the case of, say, 3 months. This is going to be the big thing that I think occurs over the next few months. Even if Bitcoin holds its ground with where it currently sits, a trading range between 60 and 75, or at an extreme, say 50 and 80 grand, which is all still fine for a macro cycle here, which is all still fine for a wave 5 that could take Bitcoin to 100, 150 grand, whatever it might be. So leaving that thought aside just for a moment, let's stuff it. Let's do this thought right now. This is for the altcoins. So that is the correction that I had been waiting for this period now. It's happening, and you can see a lot of altcoins that have retraced past a 50% level. Some of them have come back to previous accumulation through the accumulation of late 2023, which is a bad sign for those coins moving forward into the next stage of the cycle. I think there's plenty more gains to come for altcoins, and you just need to be prepared with the right altcoin. So if you can find stuff in the million of altcoins that are out there that are holding up better than many others, basically above their accumulation zone of late 2023, then you might have some much more significant gains than other altcoins during this next stage of the cycle. I think that will occur. That's usually the next question a lot of people have when it comes to altcoins. When is it going to happen? I suspect you'd have to wait for Bitcoin to confirm it's out of this trading range, not just sort of fake outs to 75 or 78 grand, but confirm that, and you'd see some volume pick up to confirm that sort of thing. And once Bitcoin goes on its first run, then you might see altcoins pick up after that. A few weeks later, maybe a month later, obviously we'll wait and see, but I think there's a bit of time left with those particular altcoins. So that's the biggest thing that I'm seeing right now in the market, basically for altcoins and for the Bitcoin pairings of those altcoins, so that you can determine which ones are going to be better than others. Now, of course, there's countless numbers of channels that are talking about this top 5 altcoin and these altcoins and all that sort of stuff, that are saying these ones are going to go up before the halving and all that sort of jazz. I mean, I just look at them against the Bitcoin value on the chart. That's going to tell me everything I need to know. I don't need to worry about which ones I'm trying to pick based on their fundamentals. Too much time. There's not that much time in the day to be able to do all of that. And most of these coins that people pick are just nonsense garbage anyway. I think we all get that. So that's what I see coming up with altcoins. Huge potential over the next few months to get into the right altcoins. And when Bitcoin finally breaks, that's when things are going to go from that point. All right, let's talk about the economic data. Obviously, we have CPI coming up tomorrow. We've got interest rates. We've got the stock markets that have been on a pause. We have real estate prices, which have continued up. What I want to get into with that, before I do, I need you to hit the like button. If you want more like this, I'm keeping it under 10 minutes. I'm not going to replace what's on the channel already, but if you want a few more like this, because it allows me to just speak my mind and get a lot of that information out rather than have to go through charts, especially if you guys have seen it many times, then let me know. Get 3,000 likes on the video, share it with friends or whatever, so that we can stay up to date with what's going on in the market and keep it nice and succinct. With that in mind, okay, the stock markets are looking like at this stage, should they go on until next week, it's likely that we'll see the longest time underneath an old all-time high since January, where they broke into new all-time highs, and which would then put it on par with October of 2023, which was basically the low that they all ran out of. So that just means we're potentially going through a seasonal period of consolidation. Maybe it's a few more percent lower, maybe not, maybe it's just a grinding period. Nonetheless, it's not a blow off top that I've seen many people thinking that that's what we're coming to based on some other cycle that they're looking at. 2024 doesn't seem like it's the year that we're going to see a major recession. Doesn't look like the year that we're going to see markets collapse. Plenty more going on in the underlying economy that suggests we're not at that stage yet. And so when we do get to that stage, there's things like interest rates that we still have to cover. There's all that sort of stuff. When we do get to that stage, I don't think people will be expecting it. Whereas now they're still trying to expect it, which brings me back to the beginning of the video where I'm talking about Bitcoin and just my thoughts that I've been putting out there online about Bitcoin at this stage of the cycle, and just some of the patterns where I'm thinking, look, I still think it's going to go up, but it's not going to go up it might need a bit of a rest period right now. And that's exactly what has happened. The last 42 days, it's basically been in a trading range between 60 and 74,000. And so when we do get to these peaks, whether it's the stock market, whether it's real estate, whether it's Bitcoin, I think the masses are going to have this same dogmatic mindset that it's not possible because the ETFs are here, because the institutions are buying everything. I still see that happen so much. And I think that's going to take a lot of people by surprise, which means I might not be as loud on the internet. I just don't think it's worth it. Especially, I'm not trying to convince anyone of my own thoughts. I'm just sharing them with you, with the people who want to hear it. So yeah, when it comes to the peak, whenever that is, say around 2026 for real estate, or late 25, or stock market might run a little longer. I'm just going to share my thoughts, maybe a little less often, just because I don't see it as beneficial to myself, to my community, because there's a lot of people that just don't care. What happens at every single peak is they don't want to see it, or they think it can't happen because they've basically missed the bottom and they haven't been there for the entire ride. So it's not that I'm not going to share anything with people online. I'm just going to share it in a less, I think, we'll see how we go when we get there, maybe a slightly less, I don't think I've been that in-your-face way, but I'll just share what I see and you take it or leave it. That's the way I see it coming up to the peak, because of how crazy people get at extremes. And for me, this peak for Bitcoin that we've just seen at 74,000 is a clear example of how it'll be, but amplified when we do get to any sort of peak for crypto, for the stock market, for Bitcoin, and of course for real estate. That's really going to hurt when things turn over after 2026. And so hopefully I've kept to my promise here, keeping it almost under 10 minutes. But yeah, obviously hit the like button, let us know. 3,000 likes. I'll do a little more like this. I'll share the beautiful sights. We've got some surf going on over here, and of course the background all the way there into beautiful surfers, Broadbeach, and the rest of the Gold Coast. I'll see you guys back here on the channel for another update. Don't go anywhere. Things aren't changing, but I might be making it a little more fun and exciting, as I love being out here just watching the surf and the beautiful autumn weather. All right, guys, take care. Till next time, peace out.